Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here at the Clerk's office for our very first public broadcast. My name is Tiara Earls-Haas, and I am the Communications Specialist here at the Clerk's office. And again, I want to thank you for joining us for our presentation here, Clerk Services in the Age of COVID-19. This is actually a two-part presentation that came about as a result of some of the work that's been done by the employee-led community engagement work group. And one of the things that we really wanted to do was to find a way to engage the community and give back to the community. But we're also trying to find additional ways to educate the public about some of the things that we do. So with everything going on right now with COVID-19, a webinar seemed to be a really good fit for some of the things we wanted to achieve. So again, welcome. I'm going to be playing a little bit of a dual role here today. I'm going to be a moderator, but I'm also going to be presenting to you guys later today in the presentation. So before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that we are taking questions and we will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to submit your questions during the presentation and we will do a Q&A at the end. With that said, I want to go ahead and introduce our panelists today. We have Jessica Fotinos, who is our general counsel, who is going to provide a very brief message for you guys today. We also have Chris Cerato, who is a business analyst here at the Clerk's office, as well as a presentation from Oni Boston, who is our financial services manager. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand the presentation over to Jessica.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Fotinos, as Tiara said, and I am the General Counsel and Public Information Officer for the Clerk's office. And I'll be giving a very brief message before we get started. But I will be available at the end of the webinar when we do have our Q&A session. So before we get to the substance of today's webinar and the exciting topics and knowledgeable speakers that we have on hand to speak about some of our newest innovations, I wanted to speak briefly on two topics. First is COVID-19 and its impact on the court and the clerk's office. And the second is the clerk's office prohibition on providing legal advice. So as you all know, COVID-19 and the pandemic has had a tremendous impact on all of our lives, from where we can travel to where we can shop and eat, to where our children can attend school and how they're engaged in the learning process. And as a result, the courts have also been significantly impacted by COVID-19 and the pandemic. And while the clerk's office is independent from the Maricopa County Superior Court and is overseen by an elected official, Jeff Fine, who is the clerk of the Superior Court for Maricopa County, the clerk's office still does fall under the umbrella of the judicial branch of government and is subject to oversight by the Arizona Supreme Court. Throughout the pandemic, one of the main goals of the Chief Justice of the Arizona Supreme Court, as well as the presiding judge of the Maricopa County Superior Court, was and continues to be to reduce individuals having to come to court facilities in person to receive services. And when I say reduce individuals, I mean reduce the number of individuals or persons having to come in and out of court and clerk facilities to receive services. Restrictions have been put in place by the judicial branch to actually limit in-person court proceedings so as to assure the safety of litigants, attorneys, court staff, employees, etc. Many of those restrictions have been set forth in administrative orders that have been issued by both the Chief Justice and the presiding judge for the Maricopa County Superior Court. The clerk's office serves the public in so many areas, and access to the court is oftentimes through the clerk's office. And so as a result, the clerk's office has been following the administrative orders issued by the Chief Justice and the presiding judge, and we've had to quickly pivot and look at ways within which to provide as many clerk's office services as possible remotely. The clerk's office has a great partnership with the Arizona Supreme Court, as well as the Maricopa County Superior Court, and we have been able to work collaboratively on many of the new technological developments that you will hear about today. We cannot predict how long this pandemic will continue, but the clerk's office is continuing to work diligently to make as many services available remotely as effectively and as soon as possible. We have worked quickly and expeditiously to roll out the new developments that you will hear about today from our speakers. Second, and to my next and final message, this has to do with legal advice. The clerk's office is prohibited under Arizona law from providing legal advice. We can provide information about clerk's office services and processes, but we cannot provide legal advice or guidance or information with regard to legal strategy or what legal implications or ramifications may exist with regard to individual circumstances or cases. Excuse me, brief pause, sorry about that. As a result, nothing within this webinar can constitute or will constitute legal advice. I can tell you the clerk's office does receive phone calls and inquiries on a daily basis with regard to individuals seeking legal advice or guidance, and we are precluded from providing that advice or guidance. As we noted earlier, we do intend to have a question and answer session at the conclusion of this webinar, but we will not be able to address any case-specific questions or provide legal advice or guidance. However, what we can provide and do provide on a daily basis is information about the services the clerk's office provides and how best to access these services. I do want to note that the Maricopa County Superior Court does have a law library resource center, which is otherwise and commonly referred to as the LLRC. The LLRC is a great resource for individuals, especially when it comes to obtaining legal forms for use in legal proceedings. While the LLRC also does not provide legal advice or legal representation, they do have individuals on staff that can guide individuals to places where they can go to obtain legal advice, guidance, or representation. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Vonda Culp and our other panelists to cover the exciting clerk's office recent innovations that we have planned to discuss today.
Thank you for the introduction, Jessica. First up, please welcome Chris Cerato. Chris is a business analyst with the clerk's office, and he will be sharing information with regards to securing online appointments for various services available at the clerk's office facilities, in addition to applying for marriage licenses by mail. Chris?
Hello, this is Chris Cerato, and I'm a business analyst here with the Clerk of the Superior Court. And our topics today, I'll be sharing information about online appointments and marriage licenses by mail. First of all, what is our online appointments system and how does it work? Online appointments are made through the clerk's office public website, which is on screen right now, clerkofcourt.maricopa.gov. Under the Services tab, you'll find our Appointments module at the heading Make an Appointment. And that's where we'll provide a link to the appointments site, which is through an outside vendor, Qmatic. Now, Qmatic is the same company that makes the reception kiosks at the Clerk of the Court public records areas and filing counters. For those of you who come into our offices to file documents or access our records, these are the reception kiosks, the freestanding check-in kiosk devices that issue tickets when you walk in, and then later an overhead announcement will call people forward, directing them to specific windows depending on what services are being provided, what services they're there for. Qmatic is the same company that administers our online appointment module. Now, just a little history here. Initially in January of 2018, our office started taking online appointments through a different vendor, and that was only for marriage licenses and passports. And it was very useful, and it was popular, and we eventually were able to replace that system with Qmatic in June of 2019. And we replaced it because it integrated better with our reception kiosks. It gave more flexibility with how we wanted our customers to be able to interact with us through our website and through the kiosks, which we have had in place for several years. Now, you can make appointments online for marriage licenses, document filing, case filing, payments for fines or fees. Process servers can make appointments. You can make appointments for records or orders of protection. We did accept passport appointments as well up until March of this year. With COVID-19 at that time, the US Department of State suspended acceptance facilities like us from taking passport applications. And they still have not been reinstituted, and we have not gotten notice from the Department of State as to if or when we would be able to start accepting passport applications again. If you would like more information on passports and applications, please visit the Department of State website, which is travel.state.gov. But back to our offices. All of our non-criminal, adult, filing counter, and public records offices take appointments. So that is our customer service center at 601 West Jackson Street in downtown Phoenix, Central Court Building at 201 West Jefferson Street in downtown Phoenix, our Northeast Regional Facility at 40th Street and Union Hills in North Phoenix, our Northwest Regional Facility at Litchfield and Bell Road in Surprise, and our Southeast Court Complex at Mesa Drive and Javelina in Mesa. All of these facilities offer online appointments, but neither the criminal filing counter nor any of the juvenile facilities offer appointments. We service around 750 appointment customers each month, so it is popular. And there are pros and cons for booking appointments. The biggest reason to go ahead and book an appointment is that it reduces your wait time. As customers come in, we are able to service them because we have been able to plan ahead with our staffing and our environment to take care of people because we know that they're coming in. Also, it gives customers an opportunity to complete forms in advance prior to their appointment. When you make an appointment online, we will send you a confirmation and we'll send you reminder emails, and we'll include links to the information on our website to help you be prepared for your appointment, because we ask that people who have made appointments have their paperwork completed before their time of the appointment. So it gives you a chance to plan ahead. You must also remember, of course, where you've booked your appointment. It's easy to get the locations mixed up, and again, we do send reminders in advance for appointments. People have asked us, are appointments required? And the answer is no. Appointments are not required except for marriage licenses, and we'll get to that in just a minute or so. But currently, all of our file counter functions are on a walk-in basis, which includes paying fees or fines, process servers, and filing documents. These are all still available on a walk-in basis. As an aside, the court locations where we have filing counters do offer depository boxes as well, where you can bring your court filings to and file stamp your filings and then drop them into a secured metal box where clerk of court staff will pick up those documents later, and we'll go through them at that time. And of course, if we have any questions about your filings, we'll be able to contact you afterwards. But the depository boxes are also another good method for our customers where they don't have to interact. They can follow established COVID-19 social distancing requirements and drop off their documents securely outside of the court facility. If there's any questions on this information, please submit them using the questions option in the webinar, and we'll review as many of those as we can later in the presentation. Now let's move on to marriage licenses by mail. Marriage license by mail is relatively new since our COVID-19 pandemic requirements shifted the marriage license process. Let's look a little bit at that. Beginning on March 23rd, the first step that our office took to secure our facilities and protect people from spreading and coming into contact with the virus as much as we could was that marriage licenses became issued by appointment only. We no longer offered walk-in customers marriage licenses. So this helped to limit traffic in all of our facilities. Second, the Southeast facility no longer issued marriage licenses at all because the arrangement of the counters and the desk spaces at our Southeast adult facility for marriage licenses could not be kept in compliance with COVID-19, social distancing, and CDC guidelines. So the Southeast facility, while it remained open and the filing area there remained open, the marriage license section closed. In a similar fashion, we reduced the number of windows that were open at our Northeast facility for the same reason. The marriage license section was closed to benefit the social distancing guidelines. Also, the customer service facilities that did not have glass or plexiglass separations between the staff and the public got those plexiglass shields installed. And this is mainly at our 601 West Jackson Street facility in downtown Phoenix. So you might ask, what are the ways that the public can go about obtaining a marriage license? First of all, you can make an appointment at the clerk of court locations that offer marriage licenses, and that would be through our website, as we were just discussing, and go in person to apply for and receive your marriage license there. Also, some of the justice courts and municipal courts are still issuing marriage licenses. Please visit their websites to confirm details and hours of operation. And third, you can apply by mail using the marriage license by mail option that we'll go into right now. The marriage license by mail option is started on April 1st of this year, and it was a response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the administrative orders and the CDC guidelines for social distancing. And so far, we have issued over 4,200 marriage licenses by mail. We average between 600 and 700 licenses by mail each month. Now, this is in addition to marriage license appointments that we are still taking at the Customer Service Center, Northeast and Northwest. For marriage licenses by mail, go to the Clerk of the Court website. Again, that's clerkofcourt.maricopa.gov. And under the marriage license section, you'll find the marriage license by mail section, and that's on your screen. And all the information is complete for you there. But in brief, you'll need to fill out the application form and the affidavit form, sign the affidavit, and then each party who is applying must supply valid government-issued photo ID. And that would be, for example, a driver's license, a state-issued photo ID, passport, or similar. And then Once these application materials are filled out, you would either mail or email the materials to our office at the address that's supplied on the website. And we do require that the names and the information that you supply on the application and on the affidavit form has to match exactly the names and the information that's on the government issued photo ID. When you sign the affidavit form, the signature has to match the signature that's on the government issued photo ID exactly. There can be no question about those items. Once we receive your application, our office will contact you within 5 business days between the normal business hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we'll call you at the phone number that you've listed on your application. And just as a note, the call will be coming from a restricted phone number. I know that for myself, I'm often hesitant about answering phone calls on my cell phone from phone numbers that I do not recognize. And so just be aware that this call will be coming from a restricted phone number from our office. At that time, we will ask you for your social security numbers, dates of birth, to complete the application form and confirm the information, and then we'll ask for payment. We do accept Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, and the fee is $83 for the marriage license. And you can opt to pay an additional $37.50 in advance if you would like a certified copy of your license to be mailed back to you after the license has been recorded. And that's optional. But the $83 for the marriage license, that is the fee. And that is the same fee that couples who come into our office, who make an appointment and come in for their application, that is the same fee. There's no additional fee to use the marriage license by mail option. Once we receive the payment, the license will be processed and mailed back to you within 2 business days, and we'll send it back to you using USPS first class mail, and we'll include a copy of your receipt at that time. Licenses expire 1 year from the date they're issued, and all license fees are non-refundable. If you prepaid for the certified copy, it will be mailed back to you after the license is recorded. Now that, of course, will take a little longer. Once you are married, the person who performs the ceremony has 30 days to return the license to our office. And then after we record it and create your certified copy, we will mail it back to you. As far as pros and cons for the marriage license by mail option, the biggest plus is that it can be done without going into the office. It's completely in compliance with social distancing guidelines from that regard. It's all through the mail, so you do not need to interact with our office. All information must be correct, and all information must be supplied exactly as requested, and the names and the information has to match as it appears on your government issued photo ID. So always keep that in mind when you're filling out the application, because it's a drawback if you don't supply the names exactly as they are listed on your photo ID. We'll return the materials to you and ask you to resubmit. And then another drawback, while the license process is in compliance with COVID-19 guidelines, CDC guidelines, the license process does take longer by mail. If you make an appointment for a marriage license and you come into our office, you leave with the license that same day. You can take your license and be married that same day. And the marriage license by mail process does take longer. It's about 7 business days from when we get the completed marriage license application from you, obtain payment, and mail the license back to you. So 7 business days for processing, but then mailing time is in addition to that. And of course, your delivery is going to depend on the Postal Service. Delivery back to you depends on the Postal Service as we send this regular first class mail. Thank you again. If you do have any questions, please use the questions module on the webinar, and we will do our best to get to as many of your questions as we can after the presentation has concluded. And now back to Vonda.
Chris, thank you for sharing this valuable information regarding these service options. Next up, please welcome Oni Boston. Oni is our financial services manager. She will be providing information regarding our new online payment options. Oni?
Good afternoon. I am Oni Boston. I am the financial services manager here at the clerk's office. We're just unveiled a very exciting product. We now have payments online. So I'll be talking about some of those things that we've just added to our services. So currently, there are a couple teams that we have. We have criminal finance obligations, also known as CFO, and we also have billing and deferrals, B&D. CFO collects payments for criminally sanctioned fines and fees, restitution, probation, service fines and fees, where billing and deferral collects for payments of deferred court filing fees and also court-ordered jury fees. Currently, you can make those payments in any of our offices. Our offices are located all around the valley. We have the Northeast Regional Center, which is on 40th Street in Phoenix, the Northwest Regional Center in Surprise. We also have the Southeast Regional Facility in Mesa, and also downtown here at the Central Court Building. You can come in and make your payments there. We accept cash, money orders, and cashier's checks. We currently also accept Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. We also do payments that can be done by wire if you prefer to go to your bank and make a bank wire payment. Maybe sometimes you have a very large amount, you prefer to wire it. We do accept those wired payments with an accompanying clerk form. It's the clerk wire form that needs to accompany those payments when you come into your bank to make those types of payments. But now we have started this brand new, just rolled it out product on Monday. It is our point and pay system that we are partnered up with our vendor, Point and Pay, where you can do payments online, just simply going to the clerk's website and clicking online payments. You can pay your criminally sanctioned fines, and you can pay your deferred billing fines or deferred court cases, fines and fees as well. You'd actually need one of your bills. You'd need to have your criminal case number in this particular format, which is the CR and the year, and then the actual case number for the criminal cases. And for non-criminal cases, the format has to be the same. It's the case number along with the debtor ID, which could be located on your bill. When you do a payment online, you have the option of doing an e-check. You can also do Visa, MasterCard, American Express. We accept debit cards. We also accept prepaid visas and Discover. And Discover is new because we don't do Discover in person, but we do Discover now online. The fees to do these types of services are nominal. You can do a payment up to $100 for only $2 when paying it online. One of the benefits to paying online is you don't have to vie for parking downtown. You don't have to pay for the meters. You can do your payment right there from your cell phone or from a computer. It is extremely convenient to do them. There is the payment limit per transaction is up to $500,000. So if you want to do any types of payments on your criminally sanctioned fines, those can be done up to $500,000. The online payment transaction fees, like I said, are very nominal, and they're part of what the vendor charges for the convenience. One of the things that also will be rolling out here shortly, in the beginning of the year, some people still only deal with cash, which is really great, but we've partnered with Point and Pay, and you can go to one of these fine retailers who will do the payment for you in one of their kiosks. We do it at CVS, Walmart, 7-Eleven, Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Walgreens. If you've ever been to one of those establishments and noticed a kiosk that you can pay your utility bills, your cable bills, your APS or SRP in cash, if you have your case number and the debtor number, depending on what you're trying to pay, you can go to one of these establishments and pay it in cash starting at the first part of the year 2021, and we'll be rolling that out in the first quarter. So that's also extremely exciting. So still no coming down, having to vie for parking and pay for the meters and stand in line. You can still do cash payments. So we just started this partnership. It just rolled out Monday. It's been very successful so far. The web address to do it is www.clerkofcourt.maricopa.gov/payments. The payment portal is accessible from both your laptop, smartphone, or even tablet. So it's all your mobile devices is ready to have this payment portal. You can load it up from there and make your payments. We accept, as I said, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, debit cards, or e-checks. These are very simple to use. To do so, all you need is an email address. The email address are used because the moment you hit enter, you will receive a receipt showing the payment that has been processed immediately. The payments take about 24 to 48 hours to post to your account. It's pretty instant, but you do have a receipt to show that the payment is made, the date and time that you've made it, and the receipt is instant the moment you click enter. So currently, those are the options we now have that you can make your payments there online. And if you have any other questions, I welcome them. Please put them in our panel. So from there, I'll turn it over back to Vonda. Thank you.
Thank you, Oni. The online payment options and upcoming retail locations for accepting payments are truly going to be a time saver and a huge convenience for our customers. Next, we're going to welcome back Tiara. Tiara is now going to introduce us to Cleo and the clerk's office virtual assistant options. Tiara?
Thank you, Vonda. So hello, this is Tiara again, and I would like to speak to you guys today a little bit about our virtual assistant technology, whom we lovingly refer to as Cleo. So what is Cleo? Cleo is the Clerk of the Court's official virtual assistant, which is powered by IBM Watson Technology. So she's actually the technology that powers the chat feature that pops up on the clerk's homepage when you land on our website. So if you haven't done so, or you haven't had the opportunity to interact with Cleo, you can do so by just visiting our website at www.clerkofcourt.maricopa.gov, and she actually pops up there at the lower right-hand portion of the screen. So Cleo is powered by what is known as IBM Watson Technology. And this is actually a question answering computer system that is capable of answering questions posed in a natural language. So the rationale behind using this technology was to provide a way for our customers to obtain information, but to do so in a way that's very conversational, that's very natural, so that they wouldn't even distinguish that they were not talking to a human being. So some of you guys might remember back in 2011, the IBM Watson technology was featured on Jeopardy! This technology actually competed against two world-renowned champions and did end up winning the $1 million prize, which was very entertaining and also very exciting, and speaks to just how far we've come technologically when it comes to artificial technology. So I wanted to share a little bit about the purpose and goals of this technology. Just a few of the things that we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to provide timely, accurate, and consistent information for all of our customers 24/7, 365 days a year. So that means that the public would have access to Cleo every day, all day long, regardless of whether it's a holiday or whether our offices are closed, they would have access to the information that they need. In addition to that, we wanted to offer a virtual tool that provides a savvy, customer-oriented approach. So this goes back to what I mentioned previously about having a way for people to interact with this technology in a manner that's very natural, that's customer-oriented, and that flows and isn't confusing or isn't frustrating to the customer. In addition, we wanted to provide information without the need to visit a facility or to call into the office. So as our previous panelists mentioned, a lot shifted with COVID-19. And when that hit, that kind of accelerated the rolling out of this technology. Not only are we trying to provide a way for people to get information without coming into the offices, but also without calling in. We have noticed that sometimes the phone process can be very intimidating. Sometimes it's difficult to know what button you need to press to get where. So this was just a way to circumvent all of that. As far as our goals with this technology, we really wanted Cleo to become the most informed employee in the clerk's office by consistently providing public support in an effort to expand access to justice. So when it comes to all the services we provide and everything we do, ultimately it all comes down to being able to expand and provide access to justice to everyone. So I did want to share a little bit about some of the statistics related to this technology. Cleo launched back in March, roughly around the time that the pandemic hit. So since March 2020, she has handled a little over 10,000 public inquiries. Approximately 50% of those interactions involve no human interaction. So that ultimately means that a lot of people are getting the information they need without the need to speak to an actual human being. Some of the most common inquiries that we are seeing is people are looking for information related to marriage licenses. They're also looking for information related to divorce decrees, copies for those, family support payments, and general record request information. So it kind of coincides with some of the click rates that we see on our website. People are still kind of going to the same areas, trying to obtain the same type of information. I will say that in the event that the virtual assistant can't answer an inquiry, it will go to a human being during business hours only. So there is a mechanism in place in the event that Cleo can't answer or doesn't know the answer, or perhaps it's something that needs to go to a person, it will transfer them to a person or to a human. And again, as Jessica indicated earlier, Cleo cannot provide legal advice. So this also applies to our clerks and all of our clerk of court employees, especially since at this point we do consider Cleo to be an employee. So how does one go about using Cleo? So there are lots of ways to interact with the virtual assistant, and one of the things we really wanted with this technology was to ensure that it was omni-channel capable. So that essentially means that you are able to interact with the technology using multiple different channels and methods. So currently, most people are probably most familiar with Cleo as the pop-up chat feature on our websites. But I'm not sure that a lot of people know this. You can actually also text Cleo and interact with her in the same way that you would on the chat feature. So the number here listed is one that you can actually use right now, and I'm sure a lot of you will probably go ahead and try it out. So go ahead, just text 602-536-7675, and she'll pop up ready to answer your questions. In addition to that, you can also interact with Cleo using the Amazon Alexa skill and the Google Assistant technology. So with Amazon Alexa, as long as you have the app on your phone or you have an Amazon Alexa device of some sort, you can download the Clerk of Court skill and activate it, and then interact with Cleo through that as well. So I believe the way it works is once you download the skill and activate it, you could just say, ask the clerk's office, and Cleo will respond back ready to take your inquiry. It works the same way with Google Assistant. Most Google devices, I believe, do have this technology. You do have to go in and activate it, and then it's the same thing. Just ask the clerk's office and Cleo will interact with you. So I want to share a little bit about what we're doing as far as expanding this technology. We are in the process of transitioning that longer phone number into a 5-digit short code so that people will just be able to text that and then can interact with Cleo that way. One of the reasons why we're doing that is because it can be kind of confusing to know whether or not this 602 number is one that you can call. And we do know that that's probably something that people are doing. So to avoid the confusion, we're going to transition that to a 5-digit short code. So similar to some of the codes that you see if you want to enroll in a campaign of some sorts or enroll in updates from a company, it'll be the same thing. We are also looking to integrate Cleo with Facebook Messenger. So in the future, when you message us on Facebook, you will likely get a response back from Cleo. And again, it'll be the same thing as if you were interacting with her with our chat feature on our website. We are also looking into expanding this technology with a video chat option, which is, I know, very ambitious, but it is something that we are looking at. And we are also considering doing an email feature. So what this would look like is we would have an email address that the public could use. Once they email that, you would get a response back from Cleo. So again, a lot of this just kind of comes down to wanting to be able to provide information to the public in as many ways as possible. But at the end of the day, we do really live in a tech 2.0 world right now. So it only makes sense that our technology evolves to match that. So that is my Cleo presentation. Again, if you have questions, please do send those in. We are going to do a Q&A after this. I do want to share with you guys that we are always looking for feedback from the public when it comes to ways that we can better serve the public, ways that we can better serve you. So if you do have thoughts or feedback in regards to what we can do to improve, please do email us at help.us.serve@cosc.maricopa.gov. And as always, please do follow us on our social media channels. We have accounts on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And with that said, I'm going to open it up for questions and hand this back over to Vonda.
Hi, this is Lori. I think we may have unfortunately lost Vonda.
I'm
So our
sorry.
first question.
Yes.
So our first question is, how soon before we can pay filing fees online for family law? And I think that is directed towards Oni.
That is currently being worked on right now. We just rolled out the civil filing fees, not family yet. And family, it's in discussion and we're looking at first quarter next year.
Great, thank you so much, Oni. Next question, is there an email address to send proposed orders in probate matters, or is that limited to only Northwest Court?
Hi, Lori, this is Jessica.
Great, thanks, Jessica.
Okay, I can chime in here, and I think I had my mic off before. I was actually going to chime in a little bit with regard to the response that Oni just provided. I think the question about family court, I wasn't sure if it had anything really to do with fines and fees, but more to do with e-file in family court. We currently do have e-filing in family court. We do not have the capacity to file case initiating documents in e-file in family court, but that is, as Oni referenced in her response, something that is in development and is being expedited in light of COVID. So it's definitely on our radar as far as filing fees and filing in family court. But just to be clear, we do have in Maricopa County e-file in family court. It's just that you cannot file, my understanding, any case initiating documents.
Yes, you're correct, Jessica. Thank you.
Okay. And then I think the next question was specific to probate forms of order. And that's a bit off topic from this webinar, but if it has to do, again, I think the questions may be as far as probate and e-file. Probate currently does not have any e-file capabilities. It is being looked at and will likely come to fruition at some point, but I can tell you that there are some concerns from a variety of stakeholders because of the high volume of confidential and sensitive documents that can be filed within a probate case. So it is being looked at. I think eventually there'll be some e-file components in probate, but that it may not be as robust as what is available in civil. I think also with the forms of order and the reference to perhaps an email, is currently some of the judicial officers are allowing parties to do some emailing of documents. However, email is not an acceptable form of filing with the clerk's office. However, if a judge, for example, directs an attorney or a party to email he or she something in advance of a hearing or perhaps a proposed form of order, that would be between the party and the person to whom the judge directed that to, and whether or not that's appropriate. So I do know some judicial officers are having some email communications with litigants and parties that are appearing before them. And that's completely within the discretion of that judicial officer, but that's sort of outside the scope of the clerk's office. I hope that helps answer the question.
Very good, Jessica. Thank you.
Okay, and then our last question that we have is, when do you expect we can pay probate filing fees online?
I think that goes back to me again. Lots of interest, it seems like, in probate. And I know a lot of you that maybe are probate practitioners or people that do a bulk of probate work before the Maricopa County Superior Court have probably heard me and our probate registrars speak, along with presiding Judge Polk and other members of the probate bench. And again, we are working in tandem with the court and the AOC on probate e-file. And I can tell you that it's being discussed and it's being in development. And, along with e-file would come the capacity to pay the filing fee along with the e-file submission of the document, but we're just not there yet. We actually are going to be doing, I don't want to, and maybe Tiara will touch on that, we will be doing a part 2 to this series of this webinar that's going to actually talk about our newest development in e-file, which is civil case initiation, which is a huge step forward as far as e-file capabilities. And then my understanding is family case initiation is next to be looked at, and then probate, I believe, falls after family.
Yes, so this is Tiara. So to piggyback off of what Jessica said, the second part of this series is going to be geared specifically towards e-file, as well as for the new exhibit submission portal. We do have that scheduled for October 28th, and what we're going to do is at the end of this presentation, we will send out specifics for that so that you guys can start registering for that if you're interested.
Okay, that wraps up our questions. Oni, did you want to possibly go through some of your FAQs with the online payments?
Sure. So the FAQs that we have developed for our external customers and internal customers is some of the things of what can and cannot be paid. Currently, CCU fees can also be paid. CCU is our county collections group for our criminal obligations, things that have surpassed the standard of being just in our regular in-office collections, but have now been sent to an outside collections office. Those things can also now be paid online. It was the county collections, and recently, I think first quarter fiscal year this year in July, CCU is now under the clerk's umbrella. So it's now the Clerk's County Collections Department. So any cases that they have in their purview, again, criminal obligations, can also be paid online. Some of the things that cannot be paid online are the juvenile cases. So there are juvenile criminal cases out there. We don't yet have the ability to have the juve cases to be paid online, but we are looking at expanding this online payment venture with our vendor Point and Pay. And we're looking at probably doing that in phase 2, which will be second quarter next year, where we can incorporate the juvenile cases. Currently, you can do payments by phone if your account is in county collections or clerk's collections office. They do payments by phone. Also, billing and deferrals also handles payments by phone. However, the more we get acclimated to doing payments online, we can see probably third quarter next year, maybe phasing out the online payments. I mean, the telephone payments, as people get more acclimated to doing payments online. And one of the additions, and I did mention this, we always get this question on, can a prepaid debit card be used or a credit card, such as like an employer payroll card? Yes, those are acceptable forms of payment in the online realm. One of the other things is if you made a mistake, like I said, this is very new to the clerk's office, and we had a customer inadvertently pay his entire balance, couple $1,000s. So if you make a mistake, or if you have a customer that has maybe overpaid something in error, all they have to do is contact our office here in accounting, or contact the criminal finance office directly, and you can reach us by dialing 37 Clerk, or we also have our email addresses online. CFO is just cforesponse@maricopa.gov, and the collections group is collection@maricopa.gov, and then there's the Clerk of Court Billing and Deferrals at maricopa.gov. So if you've made a payment in error, maybe paid too much, maybe paid the wrong account, you can easily call 37 Clerk or contact us via email, and we can move the payment to the account that you want to get it paid, or maybe cancel a payment that was done in error. One of the questions we also frequently get is, do we have the ability to do reoccurring payments? So a lot of times on our deferred billing accounts, they can set up payment arrangements. Maybe you want to break up the amount and pay it over 6 months. So you'd have 6 reoccurring payments. Yes, our new vendor has the ability to do reoccurring payments, which is phenomenal. You set it and forget it. And if you set it for 6 payments, because it's an absolute fee to be paid off, it'll cancel itself and after the 6 payments are made. If it is a criminally sanctioned fee and it's something that's reoccurring month after month, it's incumbent upon the customer to go into the online system and close it out and stop the reoccurring payment. Or there is a way to pause it. Christmas is coming up. Maybe you want to pause that payment in December and make it in January instead. There is a way to go in and pause it and stop it for that month, but that would be incumbent upon the customer to do. So yes, that is available in this online world. Also, there is the availability to pay multiple cases all at once. If you have more than one criminally sanctioned fine on 2 different case numbers, 3 different case numbers, you can go in and put multiple case numbers and pay them all at once. That is also available to you. And people often question when they get their bank statements or their credit card statements, what will it say on the statement? Well, if you paid via check, your bank statement would read P&P bill payment, which is point and pay. If you paid using a credit card, it will say Maricopa County Superior Court is what would appear on the statement. You will receive a receipt. With the moment you hit enter, the receipt is electronically sent to your email address that you have given us. It's immediate. So if you ever need proof that payment was made, you have it, and you also have proof for your records in case going down the line you need to reference a payment that you've made. When you log into the system, one of the bonuses that we were able to do with this system for our criminal cases, criminally sanctioned cases, when you log on, it does give you the total outstanding balance. And a lot of times there's just pieces of that. Excuse me, there are pieces of that that are due. There are monthly recurring parts that are due, such as the probation service fees. You would put in there the amount that you want to pay. So it does show you the entire amount, but you gauge what you want to go in and pay. So that's all the questions and answers I have. Well, I'm sorry, one other one. Do you need to create an account to make an online payment? No, you don't have to create an account. You do need an email address. The system does not check the validity of the email address, so you can put in anything at anybody.com, but it is best to use your own personal email, as I stated before, because you do get the electronic receipt for your records. So that's actually all the questions and frequently asked questions that we actually get on our online payments now. If you have any other questions, please post them, and I'll be happy to answer them. Turn it back over to you, Vonda.
Thank you, Ani.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think now we have some additional frequently asked questions that Tiara Earls-Haas is going to go through.
Hi, thank you, Lori. So I just wanted to cover a few questions that we often get in relation to the capabilities of Clio. So I have noticed a question being asked in regards to whether Clio can provide case information. And as far as I understand, the technology cannot provide immediate case information, but it can direct you to where you can go or need to go to obtain that information. The technology is not integrated with our records management program like that, but I do know, again, that she can direct you where to go to get that information. I also wanted to go back to the number that was posted on my presentation, the 602 number that you can text. I want to clarify that you actually can call that number. We've tested the technology a little bit, so if you do attempt to call, Cleo does respond, but as far as her capability, as far as providing you information, that's currently still being worked on. But if you wanted to say, for example, test the technology, interact with it verbally, you actually can call that number that's listed. I also wanted to cover some concerns that have come up in the past in regards to privacy related to Cleo and whether the technology, particularly if you're using like the Amazon Alexa skill or Google Assistant, if the technology is listening or trying to steal information. I want to reassure the public that that is not what the technology does. That is not what the technology is designed to do. What she does do is when you're interacting with her and speaking with her, she does listen for specific keywords or cues and then uses that to get you the information that you need. But she's not listening constantly. She's not stealing your information or putting it in, you know, some type of file that she can reference later. It is strictly just Q&A, trying to provide information when it's requested. So I just wanted to clarify on that. In addition, if you're interested in seeing more of the technology or learning more about what went into the technology, we do have a demo on our YouTube page of myself and the creator of the technology, Mr. Aaron Judy. He actually demos it and kind of explains what went into it and the uniqueness of it. And why this is really proprietary technology, because at this time we are not aware of any other government agencies that are using this technology in the way that we are. So you can go ahead and check that out on our YouTube channel. It is actually very exciting to look at if you're interested in that. And that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiara. We did have one more question come in, and it was regarding, can you please repeat the address for making appointments?
Yes, I did post that in the chat function. I believe I sent it to everyone.
Okay.
I'll share it again, but it's www.clerkofcourt.maricopa.gov/payments.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from our attendees? We'll give you a few minutes. Okay, well. All right, with that, this concludes the webinar for Clerk Services in the Age of COVID, Part 1. We hope this information has been of value, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.